Bismillahirrahmanirrahim. This is Sheikh Sufi Ba. SheikhSufi@gmail.com. CHEIKHSUFI@gmail.com. Opening prayer for the greatest shaman that I know in the West, Brother Ankh, Rising Sun. A'udhu billahi bismillahi inna waliyullahu. A'udhu billahi bismillahi inna waliyullahu. A'udhu billahi bismillahi inna waliyullahu. Allahumma salli ala Muhammadin al-Fatihi lima ulika wal-Katimi lima sabaka ناصر الحق بالحق والهادي إلى صراطك المستقيم وعلى آله حق قدره ومقداره العظيم.
Bismillahirrahmanirrahim. Alhamdulillahi Rabbil Alameen. Ar-Rahmanir-Rahim. Maliki Yawmiddin. Iyaka na'budu wa iyaka nasta'een. Ihdina siratal mustaqim. Siratal ladina an'amta alayhim. Ghair maghdubi alayhim. Waladwallin. Alhamdulillah. Dr. Sanada Kamara, co-founder of Temple Mother Earth, sending love, peace, and abundance prayer to everyone around the world.
Beloved Mighty Omnipresent, great hosts of sitting and ascended masters, great angelicals, great cosmic beings who govern the system of worlds and the seven mighty worlds. Lord, we call upon your grace to heal the earth of the actions of the sinister forces. Their plan is to eliminate the population in the most horrible and murderous ways. They have already poisoned our food with things we can't even pronounce. They poisoned the water with fluoride. They poisoned the air with chemtrails. They have poisoned the medicine with side effects that will kill you if you take it. And they have poisoned the technology against mankind. They have weaponized all these things against mankind. We call upon your grace to free us from the sinister forces whose diabolical plan is to make this world the most hellish place. America, which was the light of the world, that was brought to the world, established in this world to make every human being here ascendant, and then to have that spread throughout the world. Lord, we ask you to incarnate in this very planet. Incarnate in mass, incarnate with sitters and ascended masters, with divine beings of every type to bring in revolutions of meditation, revolution of mantra repetition, revolution of chanting, revolution of spreading love and light, revolutions of knowledge. Lord, we call upon you to empower us with our divine selves, so that we can rid the world of these very sinister forces whose aim is to do nothing but create this place to be a Sodom and Gomorrah. We already know that Earth is the most wicked planet in the universe. Let us turn it to be the light of the world, so that it is the greatest planet in the universe, so that we excel even what is happening in the great central sun. As a matter of fact, Lord, we ask all the beings from the great central sun to incarnate on the earth, to incarnate on the earth, to incarnate on the earth within us, so that we could do the work that I'm begging for now. Oh Lord, I ask this in the name of Swami Muktananda Paramahansa, Bhagavan Nityananda, Guru Mahachivilasananda, beloved Saint Germain, Lord Jesus the Christ, Lord Buddha, Allah, and the great Sanat Kumar. Almighty I am, Almighty I am, Almighty I am.
Greetings, loved ones. My prayer for you for 2024 is to be in a vibrational receiving match. A vibrational receiving match for happiness, for giving, for gratitude, for wisdom, for discernment, with abundance of blessings, for your soul tribe, for your soulmate, for your open-mindedness, for your spiritual growth, for divine love, and for a healthy, emotional, physical, spiritual body. I wish you all these things and pray that you receive all these things in the year 2024. I'm speaking all languages. Ashe, Amin, and Namaste. You can reach me at Instagram, Sequoia_spirit, that is SEQUOIA. Again, I wish you all these blessings and so much more in the year of 2024. Thank you.
A call to the warrior in you, to the healer in you, the king, the queen, the magician, the lover in you. Every single day, we are called to walk in our purpose. Answer the call. Lay down your burden and anything that holds you back and take your rightful place. The battle is everywhere. It's right in your face. Let's go.
Crystals and pyramids. Success is your destiny. Yes. Love, wisdom, power. Remember always who you are. Yes. Yes. I am. Love, wisdom, power. Yes. Yes.
Family, I am here with a magical moment of young musicians, and this is Kim, Sister Kim, and she has a message about investing into the future musicians of our community. Sister Kim, tell us what you got here.
Hi everyone, Kim, proud parent of children at the Big Apple Leadership Academy for the Arts. We teach HBCU high-stepping marching band to our kids from age 5 and up. It is a free after-school program, tuitionless, and it's open to all. Our kids are amazing. If you can, jump on our website. We're looking for support, donations. Our kids need new instruments so that they can high step on. Our website is www.balaa.org, BALAA.org. And I appreciate the time. Thank you. Thank you so much.
And so, family, listen up close. We're talking about investing in the artists of tomorrow. By investing in them, if you have a little expendable change to invest in the youth, the genius, this is the opportunity. And in this description on this video will be the details of sending your donation to PayPal or Zelle or Cash App.
Yes.
Right?
Yes.
Okay. So thank you for your support. Our children are the future.
Peace, everyone. Welcome. Welcome to Moorish Monday. Moorish Monday with Abdullah Mosi Bey. Thank you for joining us. We have a wonderful lineup for you today. We have 3 of the keynote speakers of the upcoming, which is May 18th, Moorish Governance, Birthright, and Nationality Claim Conference. These are 3 of the keynote speakers. We have Grand Master Raymond Edwards. We have Brother Nakeem. We have Ambassador Nakeem Bey. We have Past Grandmaster Al Kanan. All right, so they'll be placed on the screen shortly. All right, so coming into our view, and also we'll have
Brother Abdullah. Tell them they got to go on screen. Otherwise, I'm not putting up a black screen on here. Tell them they got to activate video. Lawson need to activate video. Nakeem needs to activate video. And
Al Kanan. Raymond's already on video. All right, that's all right. So, no, Lawson's not on. No, Lawson's not. Video. Lawson's not with us. Yeah, Lawson's not with us. Lawson, you can.
El Kahan, he needs to get in screen.
Lawson, you can remove yourself from the video.
Not ready.
Brother Lawson, you can remove yourself. Lawson's not part of the show. How can I?
Brother Abdullah, you got to center your screen, center your camera. You got most of your screen showing is in the top of your dome.
All right, I need to. Give me 1 minute here.
Showtime, family. Show us your best.
Lawson, remove yourself from the screen, from the show.
Abdullah, you got to lower your camera, bro.
Brother Lawson, you can remove yourself from the show. I can't. Call Lawson, please. Somebody.
Peace, family.
Peace, everyone.
Can hear?
Yes.
You said you can't hear?
I can hear. Can you hear me?
Abdullah, you have to lower your camera. You got to point it at the screen, at the ceiling. There you go.
Is that fine? Got at the ceiling.
Once I get off the seesaw, it'll be fine.
All right, is that better?
Yeah, that's good. That's good.
All right, so welcome everyone again. We have, all right, good. We have all our guests on. All right, good. Thank you again. Welcome once again to Moorish Monday with Abdullah Mosi Bey. We have 3 of the keynote speakers of the upcoming May 18 Moorish Governance, Birthright, and Nationality Claim Conference. These are brothers. I've known Brother Nakeem Bey for 30 years. I've known Grandmaster Raymond Edwards since September 2017. I've known Brother El Kanan, past Grandmaster, for 5 or 6 years. All right, so these are 3 of the keynote speakers of the upcoming conference. Today's topic, MOORS and Masonry, and the upcoming May 18th conference. Sister Pocola Kusar will be joining me, and she will be help me ask questions. She will be on the screen pretty shortly. All right, so what we want to do is dive right into. I want y'all to talk about your experience in the order. and how you have dealt your time in the Masonic orders, in various Masonic orders you've been in, and the outreach that you've done over the years. All right. So, brother Ambassador Nakeem Bey, we're going to start with you.
Sure. My history in masonry started at the age of 19. I was a member of the Alpha Grand Lodge on 125th Street, which is a four-letter jurisdiction. I was elevated there at the age of 19, 1986 actually. And then from there, I met a brother wearing a square compass without a G. He was a mechanic. I never heard of that before. So I was curious, being young, and I joined the mechanic order. I'm still currently a mechanic. I'm a Vino Past Grand Master, which is an introduction process to be among the executive body, which is a international org that started in 1757 in England. And then as time went on, I delved further into the Moorish paradigm, the Moorish science, as a young 5% at the age of 15 and moving up now, right? I got involved in Moorish science through the Clock of Destiny, through Messiah Bay, Mangala Il, Raleigh, Salahuddin Il, and some other Moors. But nonetheless, I wound up inquiring about the Moorish science, and I got involved with the Clock of Destiny. I'm going to skip that because from that drive, I was now full of mechanic. Then I went into Prince Hall in 1986. 1987, because three lodges existed in the four-letter, but one lodge went defunct. All right. So I still wanted masonry because I know mechanic wasn't masonry per se. So I joined Prince Hall jurisdiction. So while in Prince Hall, remember, I'm still young. I'm not 20 years old. I'm in Prince Hall. I was in the Royal Arch at Prince Hall. I was traveling. And then I told the Moors that I was going to join the Shriners downtown with the Europeans because they had hospitals, they had physical things, they had things that was tangible. So 1997, fast forward now, I wound up joining the mainstream regular Grand Lodge, New York, and I became a Shriner and among other things in mainstream. And I just felt at that time the Moors weren't ready to build hospitals and programs and centers. I'm a Leo, so Leo's I do things, more action. So I stayed downtown on 23rd Street. I remained down there to current, While I was downtown, there was the worship master of a lodge who passed away, Brother David. Some Moors in the clock know of him because he was a master of the lodge. But later on, I brought him in the Clock of Destiny. But nonetheless, again, he gave me an introduction to Memphis and Mizraim, located in Mount Vernon, New York, and still exists. The late Ron Capello, his wife, his family. I had dinner with them, So I got introduced to Memphis and Mizraim through my European brother in my Grand Lodge, and that's how I became a member of Memphis and Mizraim originally. So now I could travel up the line. It went on to Memphis, Mizraim, to Memphis, Mizraim again. Just different, branches. So that's how I got exposed to masonry, different perspectives. Nonetheless, going back to the foundation, if you know about 5%ers and know the 120 degrees, you got many brothers in masonry, among other things. So that was my foundation, and it still is my foundation. So it really led me into other paths. That's why Mangard and Ralim, a lot of the brothers who held the clock down or was high up, even now, MTV, they're all 5%, they're all gods. You know what I'm saying? So that was the path. That's how I got introduced to masonry. And so with that, as a teacher, my job was to, bring to the surface. So what I do, I organize bodies nationally and internationally. Because if you know the lesson 120 degrees, all I'm doing is doing my job. You know what I'm saying? Right? And so with that is to serve communities, serve the world. So that, my brothers, how I got acclimated within masonry. from the 5% on through these schools of learnings. All right.
All right. So I have Brother Grandmaster Raymond Edwards. Tell us about your journey. And
can you let El Kanan go, because they're my elders when it comes to dealing with you. I'm the baby.
Oh, yes. All right, El Kanan.
Unmute your phone.
But you're muted. You're muted. El Kanan, you're muted.
All right. Okay. How about now?
Yeah,
I'm good.
Good.
Okay. Peace, family. Greetings. Nakeem, haven't spoke to you in a few years. Ray, same. Greetings as well. And it's just it's lovely because I'm looking at all my brothers here, man. You know, so I'm gonna go into my story now because it's gonna bring up all of you guys in the story. My dates may be a little bit off, but I'm gonna do the best I can, being a math teacher, right? So I got started in Masonry back in '87. I joined a Masonic Lodge, a Prince Hall Masonic Lodge, J.R.E. Lee in Tallahassee, Florida. And then from there, you know, came back, you know, from the South, from Tallahassee, and but I was always organizing, you know, while I was there. I was part of organizations while I was down there, a group called SACD, Student Alliance for Cultural Development, and I was part of the student group of Nation of Islam. So it was always about building community, building consciousness, you know, trying to advance myself and advance the people, you know. So that's always been the drive or the path. So that was about 1987, I want to say, with J.R.E. Lee, Prince Hall. Then about maybe a year or a year and a half later, towards the end of that year, and like the end of '89 almost, I had some cousins of mine. I was going on summer vacation, and I was going to Jamaica. You know, I was visiting family. So I said, let me go on down here, kick it, whatever the case it is. Said, oh, and they knew I was a Mason. So they said, oh, bring a suit. Bring your black suit. I go ahead, I bring my black suit. I'm not thinking of anything. And I'm down there for the whole summer, like, you know, 8 weeks or whatever. Within 2 weeks, they, you know, brought me around some brothers, or, you know, some men at that time. And we were just talking and, you know, conversing and things of that nature. And next thing I knew, it was like, well, hey man, this is a mechanism, you know, come on, just, you know, join us. I'm thinking I'm going to just a regular meeting. And it was like, nah, you're not going to a regular meeting. You're going, you know, this is an initiation. They wanted me in with mechanism with them, you know. So I'm their younger cousin, and long story short, I get into mechanism in about 1988, towards the end of the year, during that summer. And it was a different system, completely from Masonry. Still with the still with the compass and square, and, you know, different things were similar, but a lot of things were different. So long story short, I went from there. I left, you know, Jamaica. Obviously, I, you know, passed from the first degree to the second and third degree, whereas in Masonry it's different as far as the degree system. We have 6 degrees in mechanism and 3 degrees in Masonry. So I finished my journey when I was here in Chicago, as far as mechanism is concerned, and then also masonry. So both of those organizations, I was kind of moving, at the same time with both of those organizations. So speeding it up to about 2012, that's a big jump, but from 2012, I'm online. And at this point, I'm probably, in masonry, I'm a 32nd degree, and in mechanism, I'm a high priest. And the interesting thing was, with mechanism, I was a high priest, but it's a different order from masonry slightly. And it was the Independent United Order of Mechanics, Friendly Society, Western Hemisphere. But I saw this organization called the Clock of Destiny. And I was like, Clock of Destiny? I was like, well, what's this all about? So as I'm going through and I'm finding that out, what ends up happening is I run into Nakeem. And oddly enough, Nakeem is a mechanic, and he's also dealing with, he's a mechanic, but he's the one that was, in charge of or over the Clock of Destiny. So I'm like, man, so there was two reasons why I wanted to connect with Nakeem. One was because, Clock of Destiny, I was curious, right? But then the other thing was there were 3 Grand Lodges that he was, or not even Grand Lodges, a lodge. So he was like, I'm looking for the Morisco Lodge. We're getting 3 of our lodges together, as the Grand Lodge. And I was like, man, okay. So ironically, I'm looking at mechanism, and then I'm also looking at Clock of Destiny, which the lines were kind of frayed, you know what I'm saying? Because it was like, we're doing both. So it was adding more, to the piece of it, and I didn't get, too far into the Clock of Destiny as far as going through the ranks and different things, but I was doing the study. I had the study classes, and I was going through and, studying, what was going on with CM Bay and Clock of Destiny and things of that nature. So the other thing was about maybe, within that, probably the next year, 2013, Nakeem was saying, well, hey, we have, we're moving to, or we're in the Southern Hemisphere. So now what that means is still mechanics, but it was the Independent United Order, Mechanics Friendly Society, Southern Hemisphere. And all of that has context and relevance because that was more, I was just getting more entwined, with the path, what was going on as far as Clock of Destiny, as far as Southern Hemisphere, still with the mechanics, and Nakeem. So at that particular point, a few years later, it's like, well, hey, you make sure that your guys are, you're building them up, and you're teaching this way. So we had like a Moorish, connotation. It was something that with mechanism that doesn't ordinarily happen, but having the Moorish twist to it. So we ended up, that was our thing. We were practicing as Moors, or following precepts of Moorish teaching and things of that nature. So from there, my path started to get a little bit more involved. I ran into Nakeem, put me in contact with my sovereign commander, and then when I got there, then it was like, okay, he said, well, listen, brother, we got to install you properly, and for your Grand Lodge, and they're still going through mechanism, and went from there. You know what I'm saying? And it's always about building. When you build, especially when you're building something from scratch, there was no foundational point where somebody said, all right, you have been inducted, or you're in now, and then now we're going to bring you, you're going to be, you're going to run for office, and people have to vote you in. No, I had to create my own thing on my own, you know, and heavy is the head that wears the crown, because it's not easy. It's not easy being a worshipful master where you just have 20 or 30 people, if you're lucky, you know, actively in attendance, but to have a grand lodge where we didn't have that many, you know. Even at the time, I was embarrassed when Nakeem came down to raise up our grand lodge. It was only, we only had, I had my grand staff, you know. Other members weren't even, you know, oh, I'm going out of town, or I had to do this, I have to do that, or whatever the case is. So that was embarrassing, and that was kind of crazy or whatever, because the mechanism, everybody, well, in masonry too, everybody comes out when there is a installation that's going on, an installation banquet and raising up of the offices and things of that nature. But again, what ended up happening is, you know, they came down and, you know, we had a good time. We fellowshipped and things of that nature, and, you know, partied, and we had a good time. So anyways, leaving from there, leaving from there, some years later, I joined up with ancient York Rite Masonry, which is a little different, you know, than when we look at Scottish Rite, where, you know, you're just doing different type of degrees or whatever the case it is. And then that's where, well, and I'll say this too, I'm sorry. So I also, Nakeem again, I got a lot of issue with Nakeem, I'm gonna say that, you know, so also Nakeem was responsible, if my memory doesn't fail me on this one, the same position as Venerable Past Grand Master was bestowed upon me through an initiation, through mechanism as well. So, and it's always been that the thing is always about building. I'm in the process again now of building another Grand Lodge, you know, as we speak. You know, it's a slow process, but I'm in the process of doing it because it's from scratch. It's easier when you already have that system in place. Then all you got to do is just like, oh, I got voted in. All right, well, cool, I'm good. You know what I'm saying? But when you have to go ahead and you have to piece it together. Now, I know Nakeem knows about that because, you know, Nakeem had to piece things together when things were falling apart. He had to go ahead and like, I got to pick up the reins. Things is jumping in the air. He had to juggle and put things together, whatever the case it is. And he said, brother, if you just stick with me, I can show you. But just stick with me. Just stick with me. so, you know, that's my big brother. You know what I'm saying? I love him. You know what I'm saying? And I see you laughing a little bit, Abdullah, because you sound like him at times. And you know that's Nakeem. You know, stick with me, brother. Just I got you, you know. That's why I'm happy to be on here, man, because, you know, these, I say this lovingly, these are some nuts, but I love them, you know what I'm saying? They good nuts, you know what I'm saying? I mean, it's my big brothers, and I love you, both of you. And I'll say this as well, too. Within 2017, I went to a convention in Chicago. I can't remember the Grand Lodge right now, but that was the time that I met Ray. I met Ray, and we talked. And Ray has this. He got this personality, man. That it just sucks you in. It's like, man, you know, he's a good dude. That's all I can say. And he's got. And I'll say this right here. Everybody on this call has their own strong opinions. Everybody has their own set way. If they going with the grain, cool. If they going against the grain, oh well, because each one of us has our own, you know, our own mindset in the whole 9 yards. And like I said, my connection with Ray, I connected with Ray for the first time. I think it was 26, may have been 26, but at that convention, and it was good. It was good. So it's always about building, and I know Ray has been in the building process as well, you know. And I can go on, but I don't want to take up all of the time. But this is just with the meeting of these two brothers, and then I met you, Abdullah, back in 2016, 2017, around that time too, and we were talking and met at the library, and before then I'd been listening to you, and then from dealing with Clock of Destiny, then I ran into Taj, and then from Taj on the video, then I ran into you. Then I started calling you up. I said, "No, I'm about to find out who this brother is." And then after that, he was like, "Well, listen, brother, I'll be in Chicago next year, yada yada, or 2 years from now, yada yada yada." And then that's how we got our thing. So it's been all love. It's still building, So.
And Master.
You ready for me now, bro?
Yeah, ready for you. Yes.
First of all, to yourself, Brother Abdullah, I could never tell you no because you've never told me no. So I'll expect that check for $1,000 later on today. But to El Kanan, Nakeem, Abdullah, I'll greet you all. Assalamu alaikum. Peace and greetings to you and your families.
Wa alaikum assalam.
Listening, I wish you the same greetings. How do I start on how I got into Masonry? Well, I don't know. What happened, I was in a construction union in New York City, and I had bought a 85 Mustang GT. So I didn't make enough money because we was only making like $5.36 an hour. So I worked part-time at a gas station. So I worked at this gas station, the guy pulls up and he had a big long 85 Cadillac sedan, Coupe de Ville. And he had a big blue Prince Hall Mason sticker on the back. And I said, "I want to be a Mason." His response was, "You can't be a Mason pumping no gas." So he don't understand that I'm working as an apprentice sheet metal worker in a construction union, and this is my part-time just trying to pay my bills. So right then and there, that turned me off of Prince Hall. And don't get me wrong, I have a lot of friends at a Prince Hall. But I just think that's an arrogant attitude for someone that's inquiring about something that's supposed to be good. He could at least sat me down and had a conversation with me. So I end up picking up another part-time job as a bartender at a Mason club on 12th Street in Newark, New Jersey. So the guy that gave me the job, he was a Mason. All the Masons came in there. Okay, I ended up joining International Masons. Got in there, worked for a while, dropped away kind of because I was a bodyguard for Def Comedy Jam at one time. And I was kind of always away traveling, doing different stuff. So I stepped away. And then a friend of mine named AJ Harris seen me one day, said, "When you coming back to the lodge?" And I just didn't have it in my heart because of the way the individuals act. And he said, "No, things are different now." Because I remember, I was like a party promoter. So I always had a lot of following with events. So I remember I sold like more tickets by myself than the whole lodge did. And then after we made all this money for the lodge, they went out and bought past master collars for these guys that never showed up to lodge meetings. See, I look what I went through. I look at them from the bad, the ugly, and now the good. So I work and work and work, and I'm in international. And I finally get to the point where I'm the Grand High Priest of the state in the Royal Arch. There was a gentleman that was in front of me by position. I was his second. I was the king. He was the high priest. And I told him, I said, "I'm going to run against you." And he said, "You think you're going to win?" I said, "Oh, no, I know I'm going to win because my chapter that I was running, we were educating brothers. We'd have like 100 brothers coming to meetings to learn. Because the biggest problem with these organizations nowadays is the fact that everything is based on money and certain individuals making money. Okay? So this man had been in position for 28 years. So who wants to be in position doing anything for 28 years? Especially on something that you're not supposed to be getting paid at. Okay, so I run against him and I beat him 128 votes to 3. So now I become the Grand High Priest. We're starting to change things around. We're starting to educate the brothers, bringing the camaraderie around. Like there's no more this real politics involved, right? So old dude, we moved the dance from one location to the other one. We made like a $30,000 profit. So this was like two different departments. It was the Royal Arch and the Knights Templar having an event together. At the end, we split the money. This goes to that department. This goes to my department. Cool. Old dude that used to be in charge over all of it, he said, hey, babe boy, you know you got to feed the baby. I'm like, what are you talking about? He said he gets 20% of all fares. And I said, no, I'm not doing that. So then they tried to kick me out because I'm not playing the game. I've seen how the organization runs itself. I've seen how it's nothing more than a glorified pyramid scam. It's an insurance fraud scam because they call it endowments, but all it is really just selling fake insurance policies because the people pay their money, but very few of them get their money back. And if you do your research on international Masons, you'll see that, hey, they have a bunch of stuff. They have radio stations, silver mines, golf courses, all kind of stuff. So now these are black people making money off of black people by portraying to be Masons and Christians at the same time, tying the two crazy things together that draws people to them, right? So I end up leaving international, joined the AFNM. Okay, I'm happy. We learning. But as you start to grow, you start to see more of the same thing. My problem today is that I had to do everything in order to get the degrees properly. And that was according to the standards that these people before us set. And none of these people are doing this with the mindset of, I'm trying to improve the mindset of my people. Like, I don't really need to talk about me. Anybody that knows me know I will go to your behind. Nakeem will tell you, when me and Nakeem first really met, he was getting his 95th degree. I was getting mine. He got his an hour before I got there, and we was in separate rooms. And the joker that was lying tried to make it seem like it was just a one-shot deal. No, he was on some BS then. Me and Nakeem stayed cool. We just looked at things in two different lights. Oh yeah, one time he denied helping me, but I ain't hold it against him. but I understood it. It was the will of the body. As a leader, you have to do what the body says.
Brother Ray.
Or you're gonna have a target on your back.
Brother Ray.
So, yes.
Brother Ray.
Yes.
Raise your camera because we only see your mouth moving. Yeah, that's good.
Who is that?
This is his platform. That's Brother Hank. That's Brother Hank.
Yeah. Every time somebody do
he's the production. He's doing the production. He's doing the production. This Brother Hank.
Hey, he come get him when we out of pocket. He come get us. That's all right with me. And so anyway, like, you know, I've got more degrees than any man really needs to have, and I didn't ask for none of them. People give you stuff based on your participation in certain things, and that's how I pretty much receive my stuff, because people want to go to people that are people magnets, so you can try to bring more people in, and after a while you start getting tired of being played as a pawn in these situations. So my practice in Freemasonry.
Raise your camera again, Grandmaster. Raise your camera again on Mook. All right.
That's better?
Y'all can get better.
Okay. I don't know. It's straight for me, but so my thought process when it comes to Masonry is teaching our brothers and sisters our Masonry, because anybody that does the research on Masonry will understand where it actually came from. This isn't a science that white people developed. We hide under, I'm with the Grand Lodge of England. I'm with FNAM. I'm with 23rd Street. I'm with all. You still stole something from our people. We are the smartest people in the world. There's not a dumb black person. We just make dumb choices sometimes. But if we start teaching Masonry to everyone, in the way it should be portrayed. And it's not about these degrees and not doing anything with them. If I'm your brother on the first degree, that should be enough. Knowing I would always help you, knowing I would always do something for you, and not look for anything in return other than when I needed some help, you'd help me.
But Brother Grandmaster, we have Sister Bacola Lee Kusar Ills with us, and she's going to ask. We're going to move to the next segment. All right, Sister Bacola. Sister Bacola.
Islam, brother. Peace and love.
All right, you got to come on. You got to bring your video on. All right.
I had to get adjusted here. So, greetings, everyone. Islam. Assalamu alaikum. So I'm going to shift things a little bit. Yeah, I've been listening to your conversations and how your interest was drawn various ways to your organizations. And as you may have, if you've been around Abdullah any length of time, you would know that nationality is the order of the day. And in particular, we are looking at a very important day in which all of you have agreed kindly to participate. And that is in the Political Unity Conference. It is a Moorish American Political Unity Conference, in which it is irrespective of what your personal religious affiliations are and so forth. So I have a couple of questions actually, and some comments that actually was posed to me by various people that were interested in the conference. Hopefully the audio is okay. You can hear my.
You're good. You're good.
You can hear my voice a little bit. Let me come up. I sound like I'm low. So
good.
So the first thing is we have this beautiful flyer of the Unity Conference that was just released. And what really stands out about the flyer is the various Masonic representatives of the various organizations. And if I say anything that is, just say it's not, if you want to change something that I say, then please go ahead, because I'm not familiar with your orders. However, I will say that I was talking to Brother Abdullah. I said that I believe Hazel, Clifford Hazel. I said, I believe that's my cousin. And I only say that because he bears the name, and plus my family have always been in Masonry, right down to my two brothers and my father. They've been through the various orders, and so respect on that end. So the people wanted to know, several people want to know, what possibly could Masons being on this particular flyer, what is their business? That was the question. That was the interest. That was the curiosity.
What is the what?
That was the what? That was the curiosity.
What is the what?
The curiosity.
The business.
What is the business? What is the purpose? What is why? Why? But why? Why is these so-called clandestine organizations that are exclusive to men and some women, I guess if you have Asian Star, why are they here? Like, what is their purpose? What could they possibly do to help the political unity thing? So I know that answer. And so some people may be listening right now that will, get their questions answered, through me asking you. So I just want to start with a couple of things first. And each of you, if you don't mind, please, can express your own individual relationship to the question, and then we can move on to the next one. So
you want to first ask the first question?
Yes. Yes,
okay.
if I could, please. Okay.
So you can call people. You can call them out first.
Nakeem, go first.
Sure. His Excellency, you can go first. No problem. So, so this is each individual organization. These various men are representing. We were speaking about the Masonic orders and so forth. So, question number one: target the community. So this has to do with what, and I'm assuming that you're in some kind of leadership.
But you asked the question already. That question is already on the floor. The question's on the floor already.
Yeah,
you already asked the question about the flag. You made a comment, and then you asked the question. So that question's on the floor. So let them answer the first question. That's the first question you already asked.
Well, that wasn't a question for them to ask, but go ahead on. I'll let you run it the way you want.
That's a question that other people.
That was a question posed to me. That was a question
posed to you.
And
posed
so
to you,
right.
And we're posting them to the three keynote speakers. All right, that was a question that was posed to me. So that they have the floor. That's the question.
Okay, because we should start with that one. That was fine. Okay, Brother Nakeem.
All right, I'm going to reference a few points. I want to be clear that I represent the Clock of Destiny, Moorish National Order of the Great Seal, founded in 1947. Mm-hmm. I will represent the other craft masons. I do not. The clock, through my experience and members' experience, is the highest order in the land. Now I'm going to give a point of reference. CMB said very clearly in the Clock of Destiny book, volume 2, that the Moors and the Europeans are going to rise together in unity. And then you understand the word Tubal-Cain. I asked CMB student Marcus Bay about 3 years ago what he meant. He said, the Federal Masons. The Federal Masons. All right? So that's number one. So it's the Moors and the Europeans, not Negro, black, and colored. The Moors and Europeans. All right? Number one. Number two, if you go in the preamble, Dr. CMB said very clearly that the Moors and the European and Asiatics depend on one another, economic and social progress. 2. Number 3, in Article 4 of our Constitution, CMB said that the Jews are the jury over the wealth and culture of the Moorish nation. So we go back to that again. How come Brother Bay deal with the Jews? How come I deal with the Europeans? Because of CMB. Why was I an ambassador, recognized in a country, legitimately, locked up for being an ambassador on impersonation, and then in 13 hours, before I made a phone call, a call came in to let me go. Because CMA got certain information that pertained to the Bays and Ills, as Marcus Bay said, and in the preamble CMB, that the Moorish government and the federal government is well blended into one, right? So in order to understand the clock members, as CMB said, as Marcus Bay said, you have the clock of destiny, 5 symbol on your card. As the only way we're going to save the nation. That's when the Moors had problems back in the days. We had Moors with the 5 symbol card, getting the other Moors out. Because we're under a different rule. We are free Moorish master masons. Remember, CMB set it up. He said, because he knew at that time, in his writings, that the blacks as Negroes didn't have any rights and the white man was bound to respect. So the clock of destiny through the federal government is where the protection lies. So when we go overseas, many Moors can bear witness, right? That the French, which came out of the corruption of the Moorish nation, and CMB said the Jews are our cousins, Ismail, right? Are our cousins. Don't understand what I am doing and make sure how it locks in. You got to understand CMB teaching. However, the clock has always been a private organization. And CMB always taught about solving the economic and the social and political problem of our people. Because we have economic enslavement, he said. Right? So the clock is about doing it. So we do it in unison with our cousins, the Jews, who are the jury of one culture of the Moorish nation, and the Europeans abroad. Seaman said that they are the mystic Turks and the protectors of this great seal, right? Now, the last thing, everyone know, some people know that Papa Noble Joe Ali was also a Mason out of Newark, New Jersey. Who knows it? Certain adepts. I won't call their names. They still stand. They're legitimate. So if you look, well, some of them have the private materials. If you look at the people the prophet dealt with, Jesse Binger, Oscar the Priest, Alderman, and so forth, it's all political movers and shakers for the movement, right? So
And
I
not
deal
keep-
with
this stuff.
That's
One
my
more minute, so
brother.
we can move on to the
That's
next
it.
one. All right.
That's it.
All right, brother Elkanan.
Yes, sir. All right. Answering the question, why are the Masons here? I was trying to get my words together. I was listening to Nakeem, and I was remembering some of the things that he was saying to me back when I met him in 2012, and he was saying, well, we met it was over the phone. It wasn't in person at that time. And some of the same things that he was saying, I heard, and hearing it again is something that just kind of brings joy to my heart again, because it's just always remembering, just knowing the information. This is a path, this is a journey that we're on. First of all, let me say this: that Masonry is, first of all, it's a small. I won't say it's a small part in the culture of the Moorish nation, but it's a small part, but then yet a big part. As a fraternity, it is a stolen legacy. To have Masonry as a point of reference, or as a fraternity to say, well, hey, here I am, I'm a Mason. Okay, but the issue is, when you take a look at that, you're taking a small piece of Moorish culture and just saying, okay, well, hey, this is me. We got a fraternity. You got to pay for these degrees. You got to go through these rituals and the whole 9 yards, because within Masonry, you are building up character and moral values. That's what happens in Masonry. But the thing behind it is, this is our culture. This is our culture. So if you have any Black, or if you have Moors who are considered Black, Negro, or colored, Filipino, Hispanic, and thereon with those names, we're Moors. And the thing behind it is, this is our culture. This is our birthright. The question that should be asked is, if there are any Albions, or if there are any white folks that are looking at, and I say Albions because that's the correct name, if there are any Albions that are in Masonry, what is their involvement? Why are they here? You know what I'm saying? But we don't have any Albions in this conference. We don't have any that are coming. They meet, though. They have conferences about us, about Moors, but we're not there. So this is our birthright. The reason why we're here is because we're supposed to be here. This is our birthright. This is our consanguinity. This is where we're supposed to be, because this is our heritage. This is our culture. And my role in the Masonic movement, I'm a Mason. I the widow's son. Whatever you want to put out there as far as the statement is concerned. But I'm a Moor, and my involvement is to go through the process, of course, and then also to wake up those individuals that are there in the lodges, in the Grand Lodges, you know. So I'll just leave it at that, because I think I answered the question and I gave the.
We go with the Grandmaster.
Good evening again. I am the National Grandmaster for the Ancient Free Moorish Rite Dual Jurisdiction. The Ancient Free Moorish Rite Dual Jurisdiction is the birth child of Dr. Clifford E. Hazel Bay. And his predecessor, well, his not his predecessor, I'm sorry, Brother Alim El Day is the El Day of the Ancient Free Moorish Rite. When you look at what we have in front of us, if I respect so many of the Moors, like the uniform of Ancient Free Moorish Rite consists of a fez. And I told them I will not allow a man to wear a fez just for the sake of masonry, because it's disrespectful to the Moors, because that fez means so much more. But my point is saying is that we're teaching people. I have Jariahs all over the country. I don't have a group. I have groups of leaders and groups of men that are teaching other individuals, as Alkanan said, our masonry. Dr. Clifford Hazel Bay said, if you're not teaching yours masonry, or you're not practicing your masonry, whose masonry you practicing? And through what we teach in Ancient Free Moorish Rite is helping other people understand that this is our birthright, and giving them opportunity to say, I want to look into this more. So have I claimed my nationality yet? No. Am I thinking about it? Yes. I think it's a beautiful thing to share the understanding of people, because when we go all the way back to Grenada and everything moving forward, it's been a systematic way to hurt us as a people. So if I can bring 10,000 people together to listen to something and then be some type of influence on them, because when I invited Brother Abdullah Bay to speak at my session, everybody was amazed at his dialogue. So how do you attract people to something if they have nothing to start with? So sister, I'm glad you said you Dr. Hazel's cousin. So that means I'm your second cousin, so don't pick on me no more. But I think this is a beautiful start to get people to understand where this national movement can go. But you got to have their ears somehow, some way. And that's a stepping stone. So I'm not here to argue. I'm just here to say, if as long as we're doing our part in our way to help our people get closer to their culture, I think we're doing a wonderful thing. I digress.
Next question, Pacola.
Next question. This I'm only being conscious of time. To each of you, are you familiar with political unity, the concept of political unity, prior to Abdullah Bay's conversing with you, and the in the political sense? Have you been in any way? Are you familiar with political unity?
When you say political unity, you mean your organization or something else? I'm sorry, I don't mean to sound ignorant.
No, it's okay. I was political unity in the sense of concerning the conference in particular, the conference that all of you will be participating in, and in that sense, political unity, making sure everyone that attends understands that in order for us to come up under the current status, which we are all up under, which is a denationalized status, that we should come together up under one national identity, one nationality. And in order to do that, we have to discuss with the various people, leaders, organizations, how we're going to do this. Political unity is necessary so that we could interface with the international community on our sovereignty issues. We are a nation that is a collapsed nation, formerly known as the Moroccan Empire. And so, being that we are a collapsed nation, and we have only been identifying through the colonial tags of Black, Negro, colored, and any other slang misnomers. So, political unity in the political sense is coming together, identifying as one nationality of one nation, and interfacing with the international community, in that we interface with the United Nations and that we interface with the World Court. So, political unity, the conference itself is, and it will be in more detail, the conference itself is to get various leaders, people, organizations who have been in the community working, helping to develop the community, educate the youth, whatever the organization is that you are all part of. The question is pertaining to what have you done in the political sense of nationality, this discussion of a national status, nationality, birthright. We talk about the birthright of us knowing that this is our land. However, we're in colonialization right as we speak. Why? Because contrary to the obvious opinions, we're not in an equal status. We are not in a scale of camaraderie with each other. We are not recognized as a nation that's conjoined with another nation. We absolutely are not. In fact, look at the number of our brothers that are in those sardine cans called prisons. And you'll see that the numbers is astonishing for small things. So we don't have exactly any equality when it comes down to, as some people would say, this is, we are part and parcel of the government. There is no inkling. There's no inkling that they recognize the Moors. And one of the reasons is that we do not have a governmental body. We do not have a governmental leadership, temporary leadership. We do not have that. We have not had that. We have not had that in any of the organizations, whether it's the, whether it's the Black Panther or this or that. All of the organizations have been doing things on a domestic level. This is my perception, and this is what, I believe that I've been seeing. I have part of the political unity status. And so that is a question for you.
Victoria,
that's a long question.
You have said a lot.
Excuse me, family. One moment. I want to say it's been an honor to have you brothers on. Brother Ray, I'm Brother Hank, rising son of Uncle Hanky. I'm listening to your words. Nakeem Bey, El Kanan, Sister Pacola, Abdullah Bey. This is a show that needed to happen a long time ago. And y'all welcome to come back and do a part 2. Even though it's 8 o'clock, I want y'all to keep going, keep flowing. Y'all got the platform tonight because this is recorded and we can hear it again for folks in the future. So it's my honor for y'all to go ahead and let it rip. And I'm backstage keeping an eye on everything while I eat my peanut butter and jelly.
Okay.
So can I speak, because I do have to leave by 8:15 because I have a Moorish star called, the Order of Moorish Star, which is for Black women, sister.
I wouldn't be me because I'm not Black, but it's all good.
Well, for Moorish women.
Oh, brother, I love you so much. Thank you.
So let's put it like this. I'm going to give you an example. Do you know how many people around the country that did not know what Pangea was? They didn't know anything about Asia, or any of these places that were truly ours from the beginning, they didn't know about the things that happened with the we offered to give to Caucasians because we were nice as a people and they robbed us. So everything you're saying falls right into place with what we're teaching, but it's just a matter of teaching people so that they can get to it. I can't sit, I'm a Mason, and I cannot sit in an hour and listen to Abdullah Bey because my mind gets blown. You have to eat an elephant in small bites. So the more and more we conversate, the more and more he elevates me. So the more and more we speak to these people about these things, the more we share, the more we're getting closer to that level that you want us to get to. Do I think we need that to happen? Yes, we absolutely do. But I'm doing my little part to help educate our people and say, hey, we could be better Masons if we did it the way we're supposed to do it and not what they stole from us. Look what Ferdinand and Queen Isabella did. It took them 700 years to destroy them. And they're still destroying us to this day, 700 years later, if not more. So how do we get to the point where we're taking some of these people that live in areas so remote that they have no interaction with conscious people like yourself? So they come on a call. We go to do these different conferences. They talk, they share, they learn. They're like, oh, we've got people now in Georgia, South Carolina, North Carolina, all over the country that are interested in things. And then guess what? There are other brothers that come on that are conscious Moors, and they speak. And then other brothers like, hey, bro, I need to talk to you on the side. So we're getting some type of reflection, and we're getting light on the subject that can hopefully get the idea that you want passed up front and personal for everybody. I yield.
Point taken. Thank you.
You know, I want to add on to that. You remember, Grandmaster Ray, he is leading others, he expressed, to the Moorish science. You know what I mean? To give them the option to say yay or nay, right? Before they was in darkness and now they can see. So he's doing his part. Now, out of that mass of people he's touching, they will decide what's best for them to do at that time on behalf of our people. Everyone will have the same job, the same task. You know what I mean? So he's doing a great job. People acting by the Moorish right. I have no comment because you know what? It's his mission to do what he's doing. You know what I mean? I never put negative at all. I cannot. We need something called our own for sure. You know, I don't want to say, as you said, political unity.
Political unity as far as your organization goes.
No, right. I just want to support what he was saying, right?
Oh yeah, no doubt.
You know, I have like 35 countries under me. Am I correct?
That is correct.
And you remember people in different countries said, oh, more for us is common. Morose is common, right? Remember that? Because I know I couldn't tell these nations directly they were Moors. I had to gradually feed into them. You know what I'm saying? Right? Mm-hmm. So that being said, you know, we're doing Ghana and we're doing Haiti and so forth, right? You know, the father, for example, I'll be next Sunday, the Archbishop of New York want me to be with him this weekend. We'll have a Haiti and have with him dinner. The father knows I'm a Moor. See what I'm saying? Right? He's a priest. So he did unity regarding Moriscos and the Moors. So all I'm saying is that we all playing our role. We all doing our part. I'm more or less into the political aspect, and I follow the problem duality program, and I follow Dr. CMB's program. I don't follow the regular Masonry program, right? Because it's not as a big picture. The problem duality said the one time we fed the world, and there'll be a time that we'll feed the world again. So that's what this org, Clock of Destiny, is working on. We have the college as a filter unit to find the best qualified members to do the job, right? So we are definitely dealing with nationality and birthright, but it must come over time. But I know you got to be free and not bound, right? Because there's people who protects my interests. I always was taught the federal government protects us. You know what I'm saying? All right? So we got to work with that system, you know, in order to move forward nationally.
So, thank you for that. Brother El Kanan.
Yes, and as I'm listening, this is great. This is great because you know, I've been a part of, and I probably can say still am a part of both of the organizations that were mentioned just briefly with Master Ray Edwards.
You kicked out. You kicked out. You ain't been on no calls. You kicked out.
Oh, well, I'm kicked out then. So I'm kicked out.
You out in front of everybody. You ain't been on no calls. You kicked out. So I see you.
All right. Well, listen. All right. Well, I was. Let's say it that way. If that's the case, I ain't been on no calls with the clock for a long time. But you know what? I still practice the precepts. And in my building, that's what I'm going to build, because we got to keep this in mind. This is our culture. So I'm free. I'm able to move around. By the way, all three of us are 33rds and above. You heard that Nakeem and Ray did their 95th, and they're beyond that. And I hope they don't mind me throwing their business out in the street. But I'm beyond the 95th as well too. But the fact of the matter is, we have their particular organizations, Clock of Destiny and the Moorish Rite. They have their, and I can attest to that, because I see that, you know, I see that in their moves and part of my connection with them. And mine, it's, you know, I don't have a set organization where, I mean, it's Masonry. So my foundation is, I was a FOI for several years, and also I was part of UNIA. And the thing behind that is, none of these were dealing with government, but it was dealing with, it was a political move, not dealing with government per se, but it was dealing with unifying the people and nation building, or building a nation, which is still with both of those organizations do, as far as my affiliation with that. And my thing is, I'm free to move, because I'm a Moor. I'm free to move internationally, nationally, however. My thing with Masonry, or even connecting with Nakeem with Clock of Destiny, connecting with Ray Edwards with Moorish Rite, any of those things, I've always been about unifying with my brothers and sisters, connecting us. And when I ran into Abdullah, it was just right on the same, that was right in alignment with my path. So nothing has really changed about me. I was a Moor from birth. So my thing is, I don't really, there's no particular organization now. Was I connected to government? No, I don't say political government was something that I was dealing with, but I was dealing with unity. I was dealing with nation building, so that we can, if once we can get ourselves together, then we can start getting the culture going. Because as long as we're, separate and apart, we're not going to be able to do anything. So when we come together and we bring our groups together, and more groups are going to come, there are going to be more of us coming together and building, and just constantly building. So, that's my, I guess that's my take on it, because it's just about building. And if we can break down the ignorance, then we can break down the violence and killing of one another and all of this other stuff. One of the statements that Abdullah would always tell me, and he talks to me about it even now. And I spread this out to the different Grand Lodges and the sovereigns that I speak to, because I have that. The thing behind it is, the beauty with me is I'm not set with one organization. I move in and out. I'm able to move around. I'm free. This right here, you see, is tied down. But with my fez goes 360. So I don't have to be stuck to one thing. I don't have to just be tied down and say, well, this is
the free one, not the bound one.
Huh?
You should win the free one, not the bound one. Anyway, go ahead.
Yeah, I am wearing the bound one. You're right. I'm wearing the bound one for a reason, because I know there's going to be people looking and listening saying, well, what's the Masons doing on here? You know what I'm saying? And I want it bold. You can see this maroon, and you see this gold and a white, and people looking like, well, who the heck is that? You know what I'm saying? Like, yeah, I'm here. I'm a Shriner. That's right. But here's the thing behind it. I'm a Mason, but I'm a Moor first. And I'm moving in and out. I'm moving through. I'm here to teach, period. You know what I'm saying? And I'm moving in and out. So let me stop. Go ahead and ask the next question, since I just want to express that.
Next question. Weren't the Masons responsible for having our history concealed? So why are they part of this political unity conference?
Well, who gave you the impression that the Masons were responsible for that?
This is a question, along with a couple other questions that I'm throwing out there for you to each, for you to respond to. The question was pertaining to weren't the Masons responsible for the concealing of the identity of the Moorish people? Aren't they part of the cover up, the keepers of the North Gate? So why are these Masons on the flyer? So, do you want
right before you respond, I just want to check.
Some of the Masons.
Right before you respond, can I check for understanding? Which Masons are you talking about? The Albions or the Moor? Which ones are you speaking of?
Very, very good point, and very good point for all of us, our education on that. Because when people make general comments, and a lot of times of which they don't know facts, they're just adding into the conversation saying, well, I heard the Masons, and there's no distinction whatsoever from somebody who don't know. They're just saying that those are the keepers of the North Gate, and they talk that Hiram Abiff thing in the shallow grave, and that's us, and they don't even. So this is just babble. So I want you to respond about that comment that the Masons were responsible for covering up the identity of the Moorish people here in Magrera, Malaxa.
Let's put it like this. Just like I said, your cousin, Dr. Clifford E. Hayes L. Bay, said, if you're not practicing your Freemasonry, whose Masonry are you practicing? So you're absolutely right. And this is what happened. But until you have somebody like me that's going to stand there and pull out the truth in the situation, and Jared would introduce that only been led by the blind leading the blind, because just like I was arguing with a guy and another guy on Tony Muhammad's call, I told him Prince Hall ain't even a real person. And all of the Prince Hall mates said, oh, no, he's not. Okay, prove he was real. That does not mean, because Prince Hall is a great organization, but Prince Hall was not a real person. He was a made-up superhero for Masonry. Who was Prince Hall? Benjamin Banneker Bay. Who designed Washington? So if they do, if he did all that and got all the accolades, they'd have been killed him. So until we learn how to expose the truth they've been hiding from us, we're not going to get anywhere. We have to be able to share with brothers and sisters alike that there's more to this knowledge than what we've known. And only some of us have the ability to do it, because guess what? If I'm not sitting at the front of the room, who's going to keep the riffraff out? Because there's so many that hate me because I pull a dress up. You're lying to people. Stop doing that. Stop frauding them. Stop lying them. Teaching the truth so we can become better people. You got another question, Sister Picola?
His Excellency, we have two other fine. I'm going to use this term, and then I'm going to make a comment about it. We're going to fine
What I want to say to that,
Okay.
it's very, very important, right, to understand that they are sons of the desert. They are our children. They're not our fathers. And then their job was to protect the North Gate from the Cathar, the dark side, the Catholics. They were the ones that was prosecuting the MASONs and all those that studied the science that was Moorish. The Catholics, the popes, and the kings wanted it all for themselves. You understand? Right? So that's why when we go to Europe, like me, for example, and they say, and Kareem is a witness to this here, they don't know they're Moors in America. They know who we are. They should probably we don't know that we're Moors. And they give me information and they give me authority. They give me things that's not known, right? Because it wasn't ready for us yet. Picture giving the clock of destiny, science, to Negro, Black, and colors right now, even so. Picture giving these Asiatics adapt knowledge from the chamber of the Prophet Mujali and his students. They ain't ready for this here. The Europeans had this on the lock and key for a long time, waiting to give it to us. You understand? But you couldn't be a Negro, Black, and color and receive this here. You know what I'm saying? No Negro, Black, and color can set up a government within a government. Nah, it ain't for them. They need free national status. They don't understand. They can't do anything under the word black, Negro, and color. And free national Moors don't understand without their free national inherited birthright, it's not possible. So the Europeans, like Marcus Bates said, Rosicrucians, they are Moors. Huh? He said Caesar, CMB said he was a Moor. He showed you the old wars, Houdin, over there in Louisiana. He gave me the old names of all of the lands here in North America. You see what I'm saying? Right? But you can't tell the Negroes that. Right? They ain't ready for it. No, they're not concealing, they're protecting. You see what I'm saying? They're protecting. That's why only we can set up a free national government in America, because the federal government is our government. You see what I'm saying? What happened, like when Suleiman came to Blake and the Shriners and offered him the right of Memphis. And that Christian, Blake, the imperial potentate, said to Suleiman, no, they're not going to convert to Islam. So what happened? Disappeared. What did CMB say? When Ben Bay went to the Europeans, Prince Hall turned him away. Ben Bay gave it over to who? To Washington. What Moore told me the other day? Moore told me on the clock. He said, Moore, these Negroes, man, you got to take some Europeans overseas, Moore. Niggas over here, so-called Moors, they don't want the clock science. So I'm sharing overseas now. You see what I'm saying? So when we try to bring it to our own, we don't accept it. But the Europeans was always to protect us of this here. You got to go into the clock of destiny and understand what the adaptation really means, right? In order to understand the Great Seal Law. So I wanted to be clear with that. No. You have segments. You had those that don't want the Moors to rise, right? But now it's too late. It's the planets. It's the science. If you knew how there's Moors in the right of Memphis around the North Gate that's currently linked to Turin and linked to France, they will tell you what the hell they study. They study our science profoundly. We playing around with it. You know what I'm saying? Philosophy, history, we're playing with it. Those amalgamated Moors, you're studying it, but they're giving back to us. But you cannot be bound. Now, y'all Moors, y'all know this here. We always taught you can't be bound and free at the same time. My name is so-and-so Bay, but your document says I'm Kevin Brown. You can't free and bound at the same time. So the clock will also protect us. The adaptation MSTV protect us. You ain't going to destroy this movement. And Margaret Bates said that CMA was part of the plan. And the prophet's plan and CMA's plan was one and the same. You can't have one without having the other. See what I'm saying? So you know that those European Moors, ain't that right? The European Moors in Baltimore, right? Right? You know about that, right? Right? The reincarnated, right? There's Moors amalgamated overseas. They got clock cards in their pockets. If I ain't telling you that, I'm following the plan. So all I want to say is that no, some don't really know how it goes. We join the movement.
Watch, not King. Watch this. I just got my messenger on my phone, right? A brother just hit me. He's watching this call. He said, Grandmaster, I do think it's time we pursue our nationality. Let me know when you're ready to move. So now, just like Clifford E. Hazel said, if you save one Mason, you did your job. So that means if we have one person that wants to claim his nationality, this call helped that one. So now let's have 1 million calls.
All right, brothers. I have another comment.
But sister, I don't mean to be rude, but I want to say good night. I want to thank y'all. I do have a call I have to be on.
Thank you for your
Thank you, brother.
Philadelphia.
Yes. See you in
All right,
Philadelphia. We talk tomorrow. All right, peace.
See you, Grant. Peace.
Islam.
Peace, bro. Islam.
Islam.
I'll be off at 8:30, but go ahead.
Okay, so so I understand that this is leading into the question. Why do the Masons call themselves nobles one to another? When if they knew the other part of the history, they may think twice. So the other part of the history, first of all, that's the first question. Why do Masons call each other nobles?
First,
not King. Go ahead, because you have to leave.
Yeah,
just for you to expound.
All right.
For you to expound on, you don't call women nobles.
No, they are called nobles as well, right?
Okay.
Number one, it's called an adopted right, not a birthright, not a inherited right. So we should not be arguing with them about being nobles or not, because you know what? They do noble deeds. They got hospitals, right? Even the grottos got dental institutions, right? You know, they're doing the works. So I respect our sons of the desert and our daughters of the desert. You know why? Because they're doing their industrial work. The more they're talking, looking good and fly, dressing pretty, talking slick, smelling good. They're doing physical things like hospitals. It's called hospitals, right? Back in the days, right? With the Moors. They're doing what the Moors should be doing physically, right? So they are doing noble work, noble deeds. And as a Leo, means I value and appreciate people who are doing the work and not just talking, right? So no, they're nobles. Absolutely. They adopted it from us. It's fine. They're doing the work. We have the name and the fez and the collars and looking good and watching parades, right? And doing coke drives and barbecues and fish fries. They're doing things that don't even cost a dime. If a kid get burned right now, they go to any shrine hospital. Where's the Moorish hospitals at? That ain't noble. That ain't honorable. That's ignoble. It's called enshrinement. Ignoble. It's not noble. So let's not argue about noble and not being noble. It's about what are you doing to make the world better today for our people.
Right. Thank you for your answer. And I actually should have filled in the rest of that comment so that it would be more applicable. So the answer that I'm looking for would be more applicable. What I'm referring to is that in the Iroquois Confederation Constitution, the Haudenosaunee Constitution from the 1730, 1700s, the 1700s.
The Constitution in the 1700s. When we further back than that,
there was another
five independent sovereign tribes come together under that Haudenosaunee Constitution, also known as the Iroquois Confederation.
Iroquois Confederation. Okay, so that Constitution, the Iroquois Confederation Constitution, laid the foundation for some of the European colonial founding fathers to establish their constitution, the current constitution. So referencing the Haudenosaunee Constitution, starting around Article 44. It speaks about the role of the women, and it speaks about the women will be known as nobles for old times, and that the men will be known as lords. So coming from that perspective, and that's a public document that you can refer back to. Speaking from that perspective, not that anyone is doing the works or not doing the works, because coming from the perspective of the current colonial status here on the land, the patriarch has dominated over the last several hundred years, coming from that very constitution that was an ancestral constitution that 5 of the tribes agreed to. All of the tribes had the same feel, if you will, for the role of the mother or the clan mother and the role of the woman. And so, speaking of this topic of title, I wanted to get your opinion of that. If you knew of that constitution, if you knew that the women were the ones that were called nobles, but yet within the Masonic organizations, the various ones, the men refer to themselves as nobles. Not that you're not doing work, and not that the Europeans are using that title, but our Asiatic men are using that title as well. And I'm basing this upon that document. So, what's your opinion of that?
Okay, I can come from that, but I like okay. I don't want govern the speech. Okay, you want to expound on that?
I'm gonna expound a little bit on it because I don't know that particular that Article 44, and I know a little bit of that Constitution, but. And just forgive me for my phone moving around a little bit because I'm holding it in my hand right now. So why are the men calling themselves nobles and not women? So I'm gonna say this. This in Masonry, again, this is a fraternity that was adopted or formed out of Moorish culture. So in the awakening or in the consciousness that we're waking up and saying, okay, you know what? Here is what we're doing, no matter when we started, our work as far as Moors who are in Masonry, whether we woke up while we were in Masonry or we were already conscious beforehand, it's still a journey. It's still a process. The fact that the name noble has come into context as far as the fraternity is concerned, again, is stolen legacy. So bits and pieces are going to be taken from the culture and they're going to be adopted or put into or have been adopted and put into the fraternal organization. And again, it is a stolen legacy. The Albions created a fraternity out of our culture, and they deemed it, because the women and the men both wear fezzes. We have our uniform is the same, right? But the fact of the matter is, the men have the name as nobles because, again, when you're stealing something from someone, you don't necessarily know what it is that you're getting. You just have something and you just start piecing things together the way you see fit. So the long and the short of it, without getting involved with treaties and articles and all of we do a lot of things to kind of confuse matters or make us seem, either intelligent or ignorant. But the fact of the matter is, it's a stolen legacy, and it was put together. And those individuals who have joined that organization, like myself, like Nakeem, like Grandmaster Edwards, we're all Grandmasters and past Grandmasters. But the fact of the matter is, we joined the fraternity of our culture. And the fact of the matter is, what we are doing now is we're educating people out of it. The reason why it's happened like that the women don't have the name noble and the men do, is because it was stolen legacy, and that was not included in the fraternity when it was put together.
Thank you, brother.
Thank you.
I'll be very short about this. It's simple. We're forgetting the colonizers. They adopted it. That's their thing. Them and their women, that's their thing. Whether they decide with their women, it has nothing to do with us. Now, for the blacks, niggers, and colors, Shriners, adopted from the Europeans, right? Some of the ideology from the Europeans, right? So do you expect a ward of the state, a subject who is not free, to give freedom and nobility to a woman? A slave can't free a slave. A ward cannot free a ward. A subject cannot free a subject. That's a common sense, right? What's most important here is that the problem Charlie held up a woman in his hand. It's a humanity. You gotta remember that Dr. CMB called the woman the master mason. Right? Right? See, so the problem Charlie exalts the woman in nobility. And CMB exalts the woman in nobility. It doesn't matter what they do. Prophet was free, CMB was free. Prince Hall and other Masons, they're cool. They are people. They have their own society and their own ideology. So they're not going to call their women nobles. It's fine, because in essence, they're not nobles by birth. They're only adopting some of the ideologies, some of the concepts. But again, they're still doing the work. I'm very strong about that, about doing the work. I don't care what you call yourself. Are you doing the work? Probably held up a woman. He had schools, supermarkets. He had 15 temples. He dealt with politics, right? He dealt with government on political level, right? So understand, don't compare us as free men and women, Bayesian ills, with those without Bayesian ills. They are people. I love them all. I have no qualms with them. But if me and that person was in court, I would say my honor, what do you respect? Those subjects have no bearing at this time over his concern. You see what I'm saying? Because he knows behind the scene who he or she is. So the same thing, don't compare a free national Moor with a ward of the state, because there's no comparison. All right? No flag, no seal, no constitution, and no free national status, no free national name. So they can call their woman what they call it. But all women are free women. And free children.
So thank you for your responses. I would say that just with listening to you, I understand very clearly what you've all stated. But from what I understand also that along with title is responsibility and duties and so forth. And so it'll be something that I go back to and re-examine that Article 44 for the next, I think it's like maybe 6 or 7, 8 articles of the responsibility and the role of the women. Now, I'll go back to just to jog your memory that this particular Iroquois Confederation Constitution one would say that those Seneca, Osage, Oneida, the Mohawks, the Lenapes, those were Moors. So that is our culture. And this is something just to examine, that whereas we started off with the question and speaking about the title of noble being used by the Masons, and was basically asking you, were you familiar with that Iroquois Confederation Constitution, which talks about nobles were what the clan mothers would be called, and the men would be called the lords. And so you seem to be familiar with it. I personally wasn't familiar with it either until
What's important let me add on.
So the
Abdul,
war.
you know about
So
pardon me,
just
Cole.
uh-huh.
Abdul, you know about remember the Ellesmere community?
Say,
Ellesmere community?
what community?
Ellesmere community. The L Eastmore community in Florida.
Oh yes, yes, I do in Florida. About
Right.
25 years ago. So
Right,
yeah, I
right. So
remember.
we have a
Yes,
lot of those old documents, right? Right?
yes,
So
yeah.
let's be clear. Those tribal names were replaced. It was Bay, Il, Day, Ali, Al, and so forth. Am I right, brother Abdul?
Yeah, that's what they was teaching that back 25 years ago. Yes.
Exactly. And I still have those materials.
Mhm.
All right. So you have to
Wow.
understand the whole no doubt more.
Wow.
Right? You gotta understand, that point of history with the tribe. Like may call the Incas and the Mayas Moors. Right? You gotta understand what's being taught here.
So are you saying that to consider that Iroquois Confederation Constitution a reconstruction of some sort as well?
Absolutely. You're in your trick question. Yeah, absolutely. It's a good question. I like that.
So what was on that? Well, that's interesting. I had a conversation with someone, and they was just stating that in Tennessee or no, Virginia. I think Tennessee or Virginia. I think maybe Virginia. That the graveyard from the Civil War timeline, the tombstones are all Ills and Bays.
Yeah.
So,
Wow.
Because
yeah, I gotta.
Remember last month I was in the UN with Aborigines.
Oh yes,
right?
yes.
You remember?
Yeah,
And when I addressed the issue about there being Aborigines and they didn't want to claim with the Moors, you remember?
Yes.
And I mentioned that in the forum at the UN among them, right? Ambassadors and so forth, right?
Yeah.
They don't want to acquaint themselves with us. But we have to, teach them or remind them of this history. You know what I'm saying? Because I did read that section you sent me. It says the Moors and the Aborigines or the Indians, right? You know what I mean?
Oh, the document that's at the documents from 1888
right.
By a curator at the at the place up in Massachusetts where I'm at.
Right. So Aborigines, they're claiming that they're the originals to the land. And I was in dispute. I call it a fire to that.
Wow.
Right? I was in a reasonable dispute, like as a diplomat would do, diplomacy.
Right.
That opposition as Moors here to the land. They didn't want to hear that. But I made sure my feathers being worn, who I was, and so forth. So we have to break that barrier. We got to put up in those positions, right? They won't have basic ills and allies and so forth. There was that, right? But we as Moors got to put ourselves in positions in order to reveal the truth.
Now, King Bay, you spoke of El Eastmore. Are you talking about South Florida?
Yes.
So you knew Sister Denise Wilson L?
No.
I did.
Oh,
Denise Wilson, I knew.
Yeah, Denise Wilson L taught me when I was in my early 20s about Moorish Science Temple. And there was a brother down there, and I'm talking about Miami, Fort Lauderdale area. There was a radio host named Robert Hall, and then there was another brother named Andrew. So when you said those key words, I mean, that's a throwback from way back.
Yeah, absolutely.
All right.
But at that time, a lot of us in the early 80s, we had a lot of those materials. It's a whole package, the whole history.
Yeah, that came from Denise.
Oh, did? See, you remember John Hanson had all the presidents, right? Right? Remember that document, that one-page document in the package? So Moore didn't know about John Hanson at all until
East Hill Moors. I remember that. Yeah,
that's
yes.
Right.
Abdullah Bay. It was Denise Wilson L. She's an ancestor now.
I remember. I talked to her several times back in the day. Yes.
Yep.
Okay. Yeah.
Okay.
All right.
So moving right along really quickly here.
I have to depart in a few minutes, maybe about 7:50 or so.
7:50. So
because I gotta
7:50 your time.
I ride it downstairs, so I'm gonna have to depart this time.
All right. Thank you, Nakeem. We'll talk tomorrow, and we'll see you on May 17th in Philadelphia.
Will do. Sound good. All right.
Peace.
Right, peace.
I definitely see that
All
you
right,
need
Nakeem, please, brother. I'll be in contact with you soon.
You got to leave too. All right.
All right.
You got to leave Al Kanan.
Yes, sir.
All right. You got.
I have some paperwork. I was holding on because, I looked and I said, yeah, this is good that we're having this conversation even past the time. But, I was like, man, I still got to get this working because I'm just coming in today from Atlanta and I've done no work at all. But for my schoolwork, but what's interesting is when I was in the airport, I was walking with my brother, my blood brother. He also is a Mason, and he had his 32nd hat on. I had my 33rd hat on, and there were about 4 Masons. Throughout the whole time I was there, I didn't see any Masons in Atlanta. None. Not at all. None. I mean, not wearing anything. Just I just didn't see any. I didn't see anyone that was wearing fezzes or anything like that either. But I guess I wasn't out at the right place at the right time. But what was interesting though is throughout the last day and the day of we were in the airport, I saw these Albions and they were out there and they were giving me the sign. Like, hey, they communicated with me through, Masonic means. And we started talking. And what I found to be interesting is, yeah, we talked on a Masonic level, but there is a conscious movement going on in Atlanta, more so that I can see. I'm in Chicago, more though that I can see in Chicago. And probably because I'm not out, in Chicago like that either so much. But it was interesting because I was talking to these Albions and they were saying, hey, they were talking, they were giving Moorish information, like through masonry, though. They were talking about a rite or ritual, and they were talking about numbers, and they were talking about degrees, and they went into the royal arc and they started talking about the seasons and different things. And I was like, well, brother, and I called him brother, I said, who are you talking, like who, where you getting your information from? You know what I'm saying? And the information was on point. And I was just trying to ask them, where do you get your information from? So there's the interesting thing. I'm going to say this as I depart. We're waking up. And the thing behind it is there's a lot of good information that was gathered on this Zoom as far as understanding or talking about the connection between Moors and Masonry and what's going on in the community. And the great thing that I like about it is, we're seeing that there's a consciousness that is going. We're building a consciousness, or there's an awakening. That's what's happening. It's an awakening that's going on, and it's a beautiful thing. So I look forward, and the conference on May 18th is not the beginning. It's not the end of something. It's the beginning. We're just arriving here at the first cornerstone as far as us gathering as a community. And hopefully what can happen is that we can actually bring more. I want to see more Masons, more Eastern Stars, more unconscious, more whatever, all of us coming together. One thing about it, and Nakeem travels the country, but myself, I don't travel the country as much, and outside of the country, but a lot of my connections are overseas. The Philippines, Honduras, Brazil, Canada, I mean, throughout. And these are the people that I have access to who are Moors, classified as Negro, Black, or colored, who are Masons, who are mechanics, who are Clock of Destiny, who are different organizations, you know, and I just like what's actually happening right now. I like what's going on. I like the building that we're having. I like the conversations that we're having. So I'm excited about May the 18th. Sister Picola, I'm very excited about you because you are bringing this Iroquois. I mean, since the first time that this is my third time meeting you, and you're like, hold on, we got the Iroquois Confederacy, and this is what's going on. I'm letting you know, I'm speaking as you now, letting you know we are the mothers. We are, and I want to speak to that real quick. So bringing up the women in our Moorish empire and nationality, keeping in mind now when we say the mother, the men and the women are following these nobles, and we as the lords, but we have to keep this in mind as far as the mothers are concerned. The mother meaning our country, mother meaning our culture, our history. So I want to make sure that the listeners, it may be 99 people that understand that, but for that 1%, and I'm being very facetious, that doesn't know that we speak of mother, we're not just speaking of, okay, well, the women are the mothers. So that means, all right, we got to revive the women, and the women with, you know, all of that. No, it's the mother is our foundation, our culture, where we birth. We're birthed from, you know, from this culture. So this is who we are, and we just have to understand who we are, and we have to consciously and continually keep getting information. So I'm happy and I'm excited about what we're about to get into. And I'm sorry that my face keeps going on and off the screen, but holding your phone and talking and moving your head is not a real easy thing to do. I'm trying to line my head the right way to angle it and stuff like that. But it's been a pleasure, but I got to get back to work, even though I'm not at the job. I'm doing stuff at the job because by trade and profession, I'm a teacher, you know, so I have to continue that vocation. And hopefully in a year's time, I'm through from it. Because if we cannot, Ray mentioned this, and also Nakeem, do the work, we have to be able to, you know, after all of this knowledge, all of this getting of understanding and everything, we have to be able to make changes. We have to definitely be able to make changes. When I saw my cousin, I'm not going to reveal, you know, who that is because it's not important. But the fact of the matter is, when I saw my cousin, and she had dropped maybe 90 pounds because she's eating healthy. She's doing things that she's made a change. So that's what I want to be able to do. Our elevation has to have light and change. We have to have change. There has to be some type of transformation that comes about. So that's what I am looking forward to. I'm making the transformation so that you can not only hear me talk about it, but then you can see it as well. So with that, I say peace.
Thank you very much. Tomorrow.
Can I throw some other comments in there really quickly? I know you have to go, brother, but I'll still put it out there to the listeners. There's a couple of points. One, we all get here through the Stargate. All right, so that's where we're going with that, just as a point of reference. The second point of reference is that we are part of a patriarch society, and we are all victims of it in various ways. And we know that being in a patriarch society, the role of the woman has been suppressed in many, many ways. And so being that we are trying to raise the consciousness of this nation in the political sense, we want to make sure that we encourage the women to not feel behind, but to be encouraged to step up. And I will look into that document that that may may have been reconstructed as well, the Iroquois Confederation document, which goes into that roles. Again, I mentioned title because come a title comes the role, come the responsibility. It's not just a title to say, okay, a man is the male is using the title, the women is using the title. It is the role and the responsibility and the respect within the society, and respect for everybody's role, for everybody's title, and being unified as a family. And in this case, as a nation, because we're speaking about political unity on a large scale, covering the men and the women of our society that has to get re-educated on the history of us, opposed to the colonial history that they have been taught. And we're talking about decolonization of the mind of our people as well. So when I mentioned the women, it is meant to be mentioned that there will be a cleaning house relationship, if you will, with the role of the Asiatic man and the Asiatic women. It'll be some dialogue about that. We will have that. And I told someone, I said, it's like the Hatfields and the McCoys. It's like we got business, we cousins, but we fighting. However, we need to deal with this third party here. So we're gonna deal with this third party, and then we're gonna come back to housekeeping. So I mentioned the role of the woman for the purpose of knowing that for X amount of hundreds of years now, we have been in a patriarch dominated society. And so men and women are going to have to come to terms with where we are within balance. But I assure you that I don't think anybody has come here through a man. So therefore, the role of the woman just might be a little significant. And yes, you're absolutely right. Referring to mother as in motherland. So we are dealing with the Political Unity Conference on the 18th of May, elevating the minds of the people that are listening, that this political unity has to be what we're focused on, not necessarily gender, not necessarily religious belief, but we are coming together so that we can deal with our issues of governing ourselves on the land as indigenous, autogenous, aborigine. We are the ones of the land, and we agree to be. And the Peabody Museum is the document the brother was talking about. The Peabody Museum, it was analysis by their curator from the 1800s that talked about, Montezuma being a Moorish king and how later Montezuma became an Indian. And so we're talking about the tag Indian was laid on a notable figure in history who was absolutely geographically located in South America. So we do have some history that we kind of have to talk about. No one really cares for history, but we should care because this is now our history, and it's going to be necessary for us to come together, for all of us to know what we need to know. The conference is based upon everyone coming, but more or less working with leaders who have a community outreach. Every one of you distinguished MOORS that are on the panel are being relied on to get this knowledge and be able to share it so that we can come up under one nationality, because we do have a nation issue here, not a gender issue. We have a nation issue, and that nation issue is your political status currently here and your political status that is going to be needed. We need you to be in your proper person, your proper political status, so that we can collectively address our collapsed empire, our collapsed nation state of Morocco, the hidden history of it, the fact that we're all, up under U.S. citizen status. That is not our status. That is the United States and their citizen status. That is not our status. And everyone is just moving along, and they don't want to know about the Moors, and we don't want to hear about the Moors and all of this other stuff. This has got to stop like yesterday.
That's right.
We must deal with it. The African Americans, that clinging, that name that's up, that name that's patented. You're carrying a patented title. The blacks, that was a patented title. Those are all titles to cover up who you are. We are about the political unity. What do they say? Don't talk religions and don't talk politics. No, we must talk that. We absolutely must talk about it. And this conference coming is open. You know, there's going to be various leaders, various people interested, and so we want to not. It's never about pointing the finger at this point in time. It is not that. You know, I hope the questions weren't too offensive to some of you, because somebody.
Oh no, the questions were spot on. Those questions were those questions were awesome.
You know, the clandestine organizations. What does that got to do with us?
They were. You know what? And I'll say something too, real quick. A couple of things, just real quick. I was Abdullah about a month ago said, "Hey brother," and just so we don't fight about it on national media airlines or whatever. No. So I'm saying fight about it because I'm going to say it was a month ago. Now, Abdullah might say it was 3 months ago, but I'll split the difference, say a month and a half. But when he invited me to the conference, he said, brother, bring your, he said, when you come, no, he said, your picture. When you take your picture, wear your fez. And I was like, I said, my Moorish fez or my Shriners fez? I said, because I was going to wear my Shriners fez. He said, yeah, bruh. Yeah, matter of fact, wear that. And I was like, nah, I was just joking. He said, nah, brother, because we're going to have a lot of conversation. And I think one of the things that happened to keynote it, ironically, you saw Nakeem, Ambassador Nakeem. You saw International Grandmaster Ray Edwards, and then you see myself. All of us are past Grandmasters. All of us are in Moorish studies and teaching, and all of us are Masons. So ironically, all of us, are there as panel members, keynote speakers, as a matter of fact, and we all have, I'm trying to get my head straight and hold the phone. We all have, we're all Moors and we're all Masons, and I decided to wear the fez because on the Shriners fez, because on the picture, that's what I have, so I decided, I said, let me go ahead, because when I started off, I had my fez, my Moorish fez, and, they were like, well, I guess people were wondering, like, where's that brother at? I want to know where that shrine brother was with the fez and the whole 9 yards. And here I am, it's me, you know what I'm saying? But to let you know that if you're talking about somebody, I've been with Nation Building. I was a part of UNIA for 26 years, part of the Nation, 15 years. I've always been with Nation Building and putting together our community and waking ourselves up. That's the first thing that we have to do. We have to be, we have to gather together, and then we have to wake up and we have to realize that there's an issue and that we have to go about solving the issue. As Nakeem was saying, we got to be about our mother's work, and our mother's work is building and recognizing who we are, because once we do that, then we have to go as an organized political body and say, hey, in the United Nations, and say, hey, we are reclaiming who we are. So the first thing we have to do is we have to gather those people, where they are, and get them to the knowledge. And then we have to organize ourselves and make sure we're on task. And then we can go to the United Nations. And the thing behind it is we have a lot of negative behaviors and different things that's going on. But the kicker behind that is me and Abdullah for years, I used to fight over the action that he told me, in the Terra Cavina. And I'm like, man, we can't keep using that. We can't keep using that excuse. He said, no, brother, that's what it is. So the one of the next times that we do come together, and I hope this is a part two, I think what we need to really address is we want to address the Inter Convener, because that is something that is major, because the knowledge is good. Like we need to be working on all levels of it. And my strongest piece is mathematics and health. So that's where that's where I live and die. I'm gonna be found dying doing those things. Math and health are gonna be my two things. This is crazy. Let me just see if the phone goes out. Well, I'm about to get off anyways, but I just want to make sure that my holding the phone ain't nothing nice. I'm gonna tell you that right now. Holding the phone ain't nothing nice. I'm gonna tell you that right now. So, and then trying to line this thing up. All right. So anyways,
real quick,
say it again.
I want to ask you, are you familiar with a recent gesture by Pope Francis that the doctrine, at least the doctrine of discovery, was rescinded, and that is in the same category of the papal bulla, which the Intricatera Divina is, and which you're speaking about? Well, did you know that they apologized? He apologized probably 6 months ago, rescinded it, and it was a big discussion about it.
No, that's major.
From the 1600s timeline, that was so they
1493.
The papal bulla, one of the papal bullas. Yeah, and also probably in 2013 it was another. He went down. Pope Francis went down to South America, and he's in a photograph with the Siberian, Indians from Siberia, and apologizing to them for the harm that was done to the indigenous Indians. And so he's apologizing, and that's in documentary form. But yeah, so there's been some movement by the Roman leadership, if you will, about the Moors. And I think we got to get busier. We got to start stimulating ourselves to the dialogue, because even with 2011, with Rami Emanuel and them signing the proclamation that the Moorish people were emancipated from slavery, and they signed it, and it's like we still don't have that information being disseminated in schools and different places like that. We're not telling our people, but I could see why, because we are not in control of the platforms in order to put it to the schools, because these are still colonial ran schools. This is still a very specific educational system. The John D. Rockefeller systems were set up so that you wouldn't be learned of the letter. You would be very much in your slave lane. And so they've done this as part of the oppression and suppression of who we are as a people, not letting us know anything. And all the more reason why we go right back to say, how can we fix our own issue? We have to look at it from a family of nations perspective. Took us out of the family of nations. So you removed us from the family of nations. So we are just nobodies somewhere, helpless orphans and stateless people. And here they coming along to rescue us. Well, you're rescuing us after you genocide our ancestors, genocide the leadership, collapse the empire. We're like those people that Abdullah, you were speaking about, that came from the Mexico side of the house, where when the land got ceded over to United States from Britain or one of those countries, they ceded the land, Louisiana. Not the Louisiana, yeah,
you talked the Guadalupe,
Mexico, the Guadalupe Treaty. They ceded that territory, California, and all of that. They gave the people 1 year to identify themselves as the indigenous people of the land before they would become United States citizens. Well, these are people that are everyday people. Why would they know the politics? They wouldn't know the politics, So they got taken advantage of. And so it's the same thing with the Louisiana Purchase and the French people that were there, that came from the old country over there. They settled there. When that land got ceded to the United States, they didn't get that opportunity to know that you should have remained French nationals. They didn't get that. They automatically became United States citizens. So we are no different. We've been on the land. Our ancestors on the land. They've had plenty of wars on the land. And then here we are, the leftovers of the war. And of course, we fall up under, the 14th Amendment, stateless people, but we bring you in and we put you as U.S. citizens. And so we need to get out of these tags, these statuses, these labels. We need to get out of it, claim ourselves. It's going to be hard because they did a number on us, because you still got, somebody said to me the other day, is Dr. Umar Johnson going to be on this platform? And the answer is, he's welcome to come.
Welcome. He's welcome. He is welcome. Yes, all day.
That's a great answer. That's a great answer.
He's welcome. Yeah, he's welcome. And the thing about it, though, we have to bring all of our scholars. Our family is in chaos and disarray. We have everybody out doing different things. We need to come underneath one flag. And the thing is, everybody wants to be the prophet. Everybody wants to be that leader. So that's why I've mentioned Inter Terra Convena, because again, Abdullah keeps on breaking down different things that it's like, what, that's Inter Terra Convena? Okay, that's Inter Terra Convena. I'm like, whoa, it's so many levels to that Inter Terra Convena. I'm like, whoa, that's what blew my mind. And Abdullah used to get on my last driving nerve when every time I say I'm driving, I'm coming home, and I'm like, this fool is out in the middle of the street, pans down, mooning people. It's a green light, and this fool is in one of the lanes that we need, and people going 40, 50 miles an hour. He's like, brother, that's Inter Terra. And I mean, we would get into shouting matches, because I'm like, hey man, everything ain't Inter Terra Convena, brother. Now you ain't gonna just put Inter Terra Convena on anything. Somebody drops some ice cream in the dirt, that's Inter Terra Convena, dude. We not doing that, I'm sorry. Listen, I'm only let out once or twice a year, so I gotta have, but the fact of the matter is, that's a major piece. And we need to come up underneath one flag. And that's the thing that's going to be called. That's the thing that we really, that's the real fight. So that's why those of us who do have organization, Masonic or non-Masonic, we have to come together and say, hey, you know what? We need to go ahead and teach from the basic level, give the foundational information, and then you just keep on building from there. You're going to grow. But we need to be able to come underneath one flag so everybody has the general knowledge. And it's not going to be all of us. We're not all coming, to be honest with you. We're all not coming. But we need to secure and substantiate those of us who are. So
we need a permanent population. That's one of the requirements in which to take our issue, our claims to the world forefront. Is that we have to have the people, we have to have the consent of the people, we have to get the trust of the people. We are helping to form a temporary government. It's temporary, it is not permanent, it's temporary, and we're following the guidelines of the Shem Malachi Bay plan. This is the plan of action. That is a viable plan of action, absolutely. If one of our great brothers, El Haj Malik Shabazz, had stated, we need to go to the world court, it was for a reason, because indeed we have found out that that is the route in which we should go in order to address our issues of colonialization and denationalization. We have been denationalized. We have no nation. We have no nation. So therefore, we have to start with our collectiveness, letting people know you have a nationality. You didn't just come from, you know, one of the black nations. You didn't come from there. You actually have a nationality. And we're standing on this. You know, I've been saying I'm Indian forever. My grandmother came on the reservation. I've been saying that. Blackfoot out of South Carolina, Ananawea out of doggone it. The Indian thing is a misnomer. No matter if you're holding it and coddling it, and it's still a misnomer. It is what will keep you from your real salvation, your real sovereignty as a nation. We need to move as a nation. Sovereignty is in the people. Sovereignty is not just in the one. I got my land. It ain't in the oneness. It's in the collectiveness. So we got to get our people motivated to give consent. When the time comes for you to give consent, you need to give consent. Consent to what? Consent to your representative leader that will take us to the next. And we all have to, we see how politics is ran today, the way they're running it, the way they're running this country. We're getting a good example of what not to do, what not to be. That's why when it comes down to leaders, you mentioned everybody wants to be the prophet. I don't want that responsibility. But what I do want to do is contribute to nation building. I want to contribute to whoever those people are that will be there, who are upright, fearless, honest, good, non-dirty Moors, no dirty Moors. We need that. We don't need greed. We don't need deception. We got a nation to build. We need honesty. We need men. We need women. We need everyone that is loving their nation. And like Prophet Noble Ali said, if you got race pride, you're the one. So
that's
yeah,
right.
not everybody is going to come along, but we're not looking for everybody. We're looking for just a number of people that will be classified as a permanent population of declared Moors, so that we have fulfilled the basic requirements to take our issue to the United Nations, to put them on notice that you're not just dealing with anybody, you're dealing with declared Moors. We know who we are, and then we have to deal with those offenses of denationalization. We're talking about genocide. We're talking about you taught us that we were something other than we were. We got the documentation to prove that you taught us we were black. You taught us that we were, old documents and old historical writings that they wrote, Negroes. So we know that we have the evidence here. Now we just need the people to kind of get into the trust mode. It is a lot of information. We're not requiring everybody to have the information, but those who can and think they can be supportive in a leadership role, we need those people to step up. But we got to respect that, we have to have the consent of our people, as many as we can.
That's true. That's true.
Brother,
well, family, this has been awesome.
On your hat or on your fez. Brother, I know you got to go. You've been said you had to go, and I really appreciate your time, but I could not help but notice that is a resemblance of a woman's head. It seems like. Is that a sword above her head? Is that a scimitar above the woman's head? Or maybe that's a man that I'm seeing. Could you go ahead and elaborate on that, brother?
Well, it is supposed to be a it's supposed to be a man. It's supposed to be, but it is the head. I'll say it this way. It's royalty. It's a royal figure. I can't get my head right. It's a royal figure, a prince that has the scimitar over the head. And there are different connotations or definitions for what that image, the head or the face is. In Nation of Islam, it is the woman, and it has the star as the child, and it has the crescent moon, but again, like I said, when you steal something, you put it together the way you want it to be put together. You know what I'm saying? So, you know, but yeah, we look at it as a prince, a man, you know, and there's the star and the crescent moon, and we don't in masonry we don't delve into the you know what the meaning of the scimitar is and what the crescent moon is and the star and all of that, and align that to astronomy and things of that nature. We're not even doing that. Over the years, we used to have a canopy where there was a star, a lit sky that had everything inside the lodge, and on the pillars we had the earth, looking at the celestial and the terrestrial, you know. But now those things are fading from the lodge, you know, and I think that's because of the lack of knowledge that the brothers have when they set up the lodge. A lot of things are just being removed from it. You know, you might have two pillars, one with the letter J and the one with the letter B, and that's it. So they've removed the planetary system altogether. You don't even see that. You don't even see any of the moon and the earth or the sun and all of these things. You don't even see that anymore. You know, the blazing star and the sun, we got to keep that. We keep that, but a lot of other things, we don't keep it in there, and we don't even give explanation behind it. But again, that's something that I'm doing. When Nakeem has CM Bay in the Clock of Destiny, which is very specific. So those are specific things, and you learn about those things, but it's very specific, and the path in which you get to that information with Grandmaster Ray Edwards, he has a specific thing to deal with when he's dealing with the Moorish rite. But myself, being I'll say a former member of both of the organizations, because I haven't been actively involved with those for about 10 years or so, or I'd say about 7 or 8 years, somewhere around there. With me, I'm open. I'm free. I'm free to go ahead and promote the consciousness of thought that we're doing here in this collective. We haven't given it a name yet, but what we're doing, and see, I have the same access or similar access as both Nakeem and Ray Edwards, and just to move around, because I'm not tied down, like I said, with this tassel here. I'm not tied down to just doing one thing. No one's controlling me. I don't have any set footsteps per se. You know what I'm saying? I can go to one Grand Lodge and teach CM Bay. I can go to another Grand Lodge and teach Moorish Rite. I can go to another Grand Lodge and teach what we're doing right here. But what I'm more concerned with is I've always been on nation building. I've always been on unity. And my thing is to get more information, because you have to make a stand at some point. And I'm gonna say this and I'm gonna go, but you have to make a stand. You have to make a decision. This is the lifestyle that I'm going to lead. I'm going to lead this lifestyle. I'm going to follow these precepts. I'm going to go this way. I'm going to work a job, or I'm going to be free, and I'm going to have my own business. I'm going to be married, or I'm going to be single. I'm going to eat anything that I can put my hands on, or I'm going to eat healthy. You know, so I'm going to have road rage, or I'm not. You have to make a decision, either to the left or the right. There's no more in life can we look at things and it's gray. It's all merged together. I'm gonna be a free slave. Well, that's a dichotomy. Either you free or you a slave. And the fact that you say slave, that means you're a slave. You know what I'm saying? So we have to make clear decisions. And that's what everybody's gonna have to do. Hey, if you're coming to us so that we can free you, that's what we're doing. And not just freeing you so you can just be out there in no man's land. We're freeing you and bringing you back, having you to come back home to your nation, to your empire, to your history, to your culture. So that's That's the program that we're doing, and I'm making that all of my business, because that's the you have to make a stand. At some point, you got to make a stand, and that's where I'm at. So I'm free to be whomever. I can take this hat off, but this is my crown. This is my national. This is my birthright. This is who I am. Now I'm here because I can move around and I can communicate to a lot of people. Okay, but here is, and what was I always at this level? Was I always here with the feds? No, not with the feds, but I was always in the nation building. I didn't have the feds on, so I was on the path of getting to eventually where I'm at right now. So you just got to make it's a matter of all of us have to make a stand. We have to choose, and then we have to be found doing something. What is our path? What are we doing now that we found our mother? What are we going to do to revive her? So that's the topic right now. So each person can take a duty and say, I'm going to be doing this to help revive my mother. I'm going to be doing this to help revive my mother. Each person is going to have to take up a mantle, and they're going to have to go ahead and work with it and do something, because it's going to take a lot for us to do it, because we're at war. We're at war in our minds, against our own fellow Moors and against the Albion. So we're at war on all sides. Yep. So
thank you
peace,
again.
family.
Peace. Thank you so much.
Peace, brother. Thank you for coming. We'll talk. We'll chop it up tomorrow sometime.
Yep. And I might give you a quick call when I get off, just briefly, or whatever the case it is. But I'm gonna finish these IEPs. I did my lesson plans yesterday, but I got to get these IEPs today.
All right. Peace.
Peace and blessing, family.
We'll be on for another 5-10 minutes, Elkanan.
Okay, I'll call you in about a half.
Yeah, call about a half.
All right. Peace and blessings. Assalamu alaikum.
Walaikum salam.